pregnant and popped partner, Maud from Bliss in Birth. Having discovered hypnobirthing for her own birth, Maud became so passionate about the techniques and their ability to transform both our physical and mental approach to labour and birth that she trained and certified to become an educator for the HypnoBirthing Institute. In this masterclass, you will discover the connection between pain and breath management. You will understand the importance of breathing techniques for daily life and labour. We will be learning practical breathing exercises right here, right now, today. And we will be hearing firsthand how these techniques have empowered a mum through her labour and delivery. The educational content of this masterclass is the work of our pregnant and popped partner, Bliss in Birth. We are not licensed medical or legal professionals, and this is neither a medical nor legal platform. The content of today should not be considered medical or legal advice. Instead, it is always best to consult your specialist providers for any specific concerns or questions, and use the information from today as a complementary tool to help guide those discussions and care plans. In short, our goal is to provide a supportive and informative community for expecting and new parents, but it's important to always prioritise your own health and the advice of your specialist providers. Now, if I can just take a really quick moment of your time to introduce myself in case any of you don't know me. I am Cathy Roubeaud, the founder of Empower and the curator of Pregnant and Popped. At my core, I am a certified postpartum doula, which means that I provide home-based physical and emotional support in the first few days, weeks, and months of having a baby. I support mums in their own home for either 2 to 4 hours each home visit, and I provide hands-on support for all things postpartum recovery and newborn care. So that's from babies breastfeeding, bottle feeding, their sleep, digestive discomfort, all the way to mum's C-section and perennial healing, to even washing the dishes and making healthy snacks sometimes. I am with you in the trenches, wiping your baby's bottoms at the same time as mopping your brow or tears, with different tissues, of course. But this masterclass isn't about me, it's about helping you prepare for your labour and birth. So let me introduce our guest. Maud is from France, but she has lived in Asia for many years. Before living in Singapore, she was based in China. Her journey to becoming a certified hypnobirthing educator started with her own birth. Like many of us, Maud had a lot of apprehension around childbirth. The impression she had been given from friends, acquaintances, and even her own mother preconceived her to think, just like a lot of us, that this was something that happens to you and not something that you can ultimately control much about. She will tell you more about her own journey, but ultimately, I love how she knew that in order to look back on her own birth with fondness, she knew she needed to overcome her fears. And through Googling terms like relax and pregnancy, she found out about the hypnobirthing Mongan method. Maud read more and more into this method and ultimately bossed her own birth. But she didn't stop there. She knew that the techniques were actually very simple and that they take us down a path that only a couple of generations ago were the standard methods of pain relief, and that women can gain back control over what is arguably the most significant physical and mental transition a woman will ever encounter. So without further ado, Maud, I'm handing over to you to enlighten us on this fantastic method.
So welcome everyone. I am Maud, and like Cathy told you, I am from France, where I was born and raised, but I'm also a traveler, and I've lived in 6 different countries on 4 continents. I initially studied the law and journalism, so I became a journalist in 2009. I worked for TV and radio in France, and also I did a while in Senegal. In 2018, I decided to start a clothing brand, initially in Argentina, but I really started the project in China, in Shanghai, where I relocated in 2019. And in 2022, I became a hypnobirthing mom in Shanghai. And when I arrived in Singapore, I decided to train myself as a HypnoBirthing educator. I also took a course about core stabilizing that's called DNS, Dynamic Neuromuscular Stabilization. It's based on breathing exercise to stabilize the core. And I did that because I'm also training to become a Pilates teacher. And last month, I took another training, applied childbirth physiology and pelvic floor with center space for me to be able to give classes to pregnant and postpartum moms. So I really believe in continuous education, as you can see. I want to tell you a little bit about my own hypnobirthing story. So a bit like Kathy, you told my story that I was really terrified with childbirth during pregnancy. And I really came across hypnobirthing by chance. I didn't know anybody who told me about it. I did not know anything about it. So I just Googled like how to relax myself in pregnancy and for birth. And that's how I came across it. And I took the training with my husband and I never stopped practicing until then, until now. So I'm still using the breathing techniques. I'm still listening to some audios, even though I'm not pregnant anymore, but I find them very useful. So I really started thinking and planning my birth after 30 weeks pregnancy, because before that, I was so afraid that I didn't want to think about it. And at the beginning, when I started to plan my childbirth, I really thought like I would have an epidural. I never thought I would have a physiological birth. It's only by taking the course and understanding more about my body that I started thinking, okay, maybe, I try it. And the hospital where I was giving birth had the option of a water birth. So I was like, oh, I like water. Let's try this. Sounds good. And so I did it. Yes, I wanted to say also like I was so relaxed. So it was really a transformative experience for me that I was so relaxed, and before birth I didn't feel any of the warm-up contractions, the Braxton Hicks contractions. And when also there is this thing about hypnobirthing, you connect with your baby, and I was an entrepreneur at the time, so I had to work hard until I gave birth because I didn't have anybody who would do the job for me once I would have given birth. So I really wanted to finish doing everything I wanted before having my baby. So I kept repeating her like, wait until mom is done. And she took it very literally because I finished working on a Sunday and she was born on the next day. What happened during the night around 3:30 a.m., I was not sure it was labor, I felt a leak between my thighs, something like, oh, I don't know. Is it really happening now? And 8 hours later, I gave birth to my daughter. So that was the real thing. She was a beautiful baby, 3.4 kilos, 50 centimeters. I had a doula during birth, but I didn't have a good experience with this doula. So I'm a strong believer that doula can really make a difference in childbirth. This one, I think she kind of slowed down the process because she coached me to push. And I have this feeling that maybe my birth could have been shorter or more comfortable if she hadn't been there. But that's the story of my birth, and I'm okay with it. So now I'm going to show you a video.
Push. I'm going to push for 5 more seconds. 5, 4. Okay, the next contraction should be about 20 seconds. I can't push it.
She's doing great.
Okay, keep pushing. Push. Wait. I see something.
What, you do? You do? Oh my God!
Don't say, oh my God.
What is that?
It's the baby's buttocks. She's breech.
Oh my God, I thought she had 2 heads.
She's going to be fine. Okay, she's in a more difficult position, so you're going to have to push even harder now. Go. Push. Push. Rachel, you're going to have to push even harder. Nothing's happening.
Yes, you can. Hey, come on, you can. I'm on final push. Ready? 1, 2, 3. You have no idea how much this hurt. She's upside down, but she's coming. She's coming. Oh my God. Oh my God, she's here. Oh, she's perfect. Oh,
She's so tiny. Where'd she go?
they're just wrapping her up.
Okay, well, be careful with her. She's really tiny. Here she is.
Okay, I'm gonna stop now. I'm sure you wanted to see the whole episode. It's quite funny. It's not the usual videos I show during my class, but I thought it was interesting to show something a bit different. So usually we watch HypnoBirthing moms and real birth, not TV shows, and that's what you're used to seeing. But I think it's interesting, and there are things I don't like in this video and things that I actually like. What I don't like is she's coached to push. What I don't like is the he breathing pattern that's completely outdated. She's holding her breath and pushing, and I just told you that's what my doula coached me to do, and that didn't really work well. And they clean the baby before giving the baby to her and before she has the opportunity to have any skin-to-skin contact with her baby. What I like is supporting birth partner in a way. He's quite supportive. He's also funny, so laughing is good. It's a breached vaginal birth, and that's very interesting. There is no C-section. The baby's breached. Well, we're a bit surprised that the doctor finds out when she's giving birth, but anyway, it's a breached baby and she still has a vaginal birth. She's not really lying flat on her back. She's in a semi-reclined position, which is not bad for a hospital birth. And she's not screaming. We can't hear any screaming either from the mom or from the baby. They don't think that the baby is not alive because the baby is not crying just the moment the baby is out of the belly. So yes, there are a few things I like about it. But yeah, going back to the breathing, and you saw how she was like, this breathing technique, we don't really like it. And I'm going to talk about it in a moment. But first, I want to talk about why breathing is so important and the relationship between breathing and respiration. So what is it? Why do we breathe? What's the connection between breathing and respiration? It's oxygenation, of course. Oxygen cannot be stored in our body, so respiration is required day and night. And the act of breathing does not always strictly depend on the oxygen needs of the body because it serves other purposes, like accompany another action, for example, when you're exercising or when you're giving birth. It changes emotions, it changes the body's tension, it helps to speak or to sing. You can also play an instrument, and meanwhile, you will still be oxygenating your body and your muscles for vital functions. So why is it so important to breathe correctly in childbirth? First, well, we just said it, oxygenation. So giving birth is a workout. Uterus is made from muscles, and so you need a good oxygenation in order for your uterine muscles to function well. Your baby also needs a good oxygenation, and remember that you are the one providing its oxygen through the umbilical cord as long as your baby is inside your belly. It provides relaxation, stress reduction. Birth is really a wonderful event. It happens once in a lifetime for each baby. And having the ability to relax in this unique moment, to feel the bliss of it, is really priceless. It acts as pain management. Being relaxed helps feeling less pain. When you are in fear, when your body is tense, it creates additional pain in your body. It enables a better connection with your body when you learn breathing techniques, you learn why to use them and when to use them. So you will be aware of what is happening in your body when you give birth. So you're more in tune with your body. This connection provides a great source of empowerment, having the control over your body, your sensations, embracing them, and making them yours. It's also important for the involvement of your birth partner. If your birth partner is present when you learn the breathing techniques, he or she will know about them and can support you on the day you give birth, suggest which technique to use, because they will have a better understanding of what you're going through, the different phases of birth. And so he's going to be a better support for you. And so it's also a source of empowerment for them. Another thing is adaptability, being able to switch from one technique to the next, depending on the phase of labor and birth. And lastly, continued practice. So you can practice breathing techniques before birth, during birth, and even after birth for as long as you want, because then it will be yours. So what's the evidence behind it? World Health Organization has defined complementary and alternative medicine as a broad set of healthcare practices that are not part of that country's tradition or conventional medicine, and that are not fully integrated into the dominant healthcare system. So these techniques have been proven to be effective on reducing pain during pregnancy and childbirth, even postpartum, and therefore mothers using them need less painkillers, epidural, augmentation during birth and the birth of placenta. It also provides a faster and smoother recovery, whatever type of birth you have. And breathing techniques are one of the most effective complementary and alternative medicine, because like we just saw, it enables to relax, and in a relaxed state, you stimulate your parasympathetic system and increase your oxygenation and produce more endorphins. Endorphins are known to be the happiness hormones, the feel-good hormone, but they are also natural painkillers. And so now I wanted you to have an idea of how you can use these techniques. And I want to welcome Victoria, who is with us. Hello, Victoria. So you gave birth 3 months ago to a beautiful boy who is with you just now. And he is the little brother of your 2-year-old daughter. And we met because our daughters are friends and they go to the same school. When I told you that I was a HypnoBirthing educator, I remember you were immediately interested because of your first birth experience. So I wanted to ask you first, Victoria, can you tell us a bit more about that first birth experience of yours?
Okay, thank you again for inviting me. Hi, everyone. So both of the experience, I would call them as positive. But with my first daughter, I felt that everything was so new, everything happening in a state that I wasn't well aware what would be next, and I felt that I don't have that great of a control over the process. Eventually, it was 13 hours of a delivery, and in the end, I was really exhausted, and it was unmedicated delivery, right? So I was thinking, oh gosh, I really just want to push her out. That was sense I was feeling. And then I thought that I kind of made this phase faster than it actually was. Like when the time came that I was pushing, I was really wanting this to happen. So I was doing this hoo-hoo breathing that Rachel did on Friends, and she got stuck. So there was a need of a bit of a vacuum, and in the end, everything, as I said, was okay. Like I was having a bit of tear, and she was out, but I was a bit afraid of this same experience with my second, because later on, when I went through the process, I felt that this whole pushing phase didn't happen the way I think it should.
Tell us about your second birth experience, and what techniques of hypnobirthing did you find the most useful?
Well, I feel the first thing is, while engaging with you, helped me feel, to begin with, that I have more control over what's about to happen. Like that I'm doing a separate additional tool, like I was having a doula and all of this, but I'm doing something that will make me even more prepared. Even though I know what to expect, like delivery, you know that more or less what will be now the setup of the experience. So engaging with you made me feel, okay, I'm having another tool that will help me. And then there were a few things with you. I was having this meditation that we were practicing, right? But this meditation was helping me a lot to prepare mentally. So I was resting a lot before the delivery. So I remember I was sleeping so well, which usually is not the case before the delivery. I was really sleeping. So I was every night I was going to sleep with this meditation. So it was really, even now I would use it to go to sleep if I really want to have a good sleep. And then when I delivered, when delivery started happening, I was using the three different techniques during the stages. So the first one was, okay.
You're talking about the breathing techniques, or?
So yes, when I felt that the first wave came for me, and I was thinking, maybe this is the beginning of it. So I sat down and I was using the first technique, which was just to calm me down, just to, regulate, to understand, because there is a bit of adrenaline happening, and I know how important it is to keep this adrenaline down and to actually calm myself. So I was using one of the techniques to calm myself down. And when I knew that it's time to go to the hospital, because this delivery happened super fast in comparison to my first one, I remember in the car, I was still using this technique, just focusing and trying to calm myself down. So I arrived in the hospital in a very good state, which happened, which was very good. And then the second technique that I was using was with the big waves. In my case, it was unstoppable wave. Let's put it like that. It was a very, as I said, fast. So the second technique helped me, refocus. I would say the biggest benefit of the hypnobirthing was with the pushing phase, because for me, this was also where I was mostly afraid of. So I remember doctors were telling me something, doula was telling me something, and I ignored everyone and everything. I remember I went on my side because this is how I felt. And I think hypnobirthing is also teaching you how to be in tune with your own body, right? So I remember they said, would you move like this? And I said, no, don't touch me, don't do anything. I'm gonna be like this. And I gave birth like a cat, right? So I hold on to the bed, and I was using the last technique, which was the J birthing. And I remember someone was telling me to push, and I didn't feel like it. So it was a really good synchron between me and what I feel with my body and how I delivered my son. So it went very fast, but this time I didn't have the care I was having with my daughter. My son was 3.8, which is a big baby for the standards, right? And in my opinion, the whole last stage of the delivery was very controlled. Like I felt that I owned my body, I owned the process, and I was feeling everything. I felt the baby, I felt the placenta after that. And yeah, it was all I wanted in the end. Like the delivery was everything I actually wanted to be.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I have just one other question briefly, if you can tell us, you said a little bit that you're still using the technique, but like how it helped also in the postpartum period, maybe?
Let's say that the first technique for calming yourself down, right? It's a universal calming technique. Like you would use it in many situations. It's not only. So I would use it every time I sense that I have some level of stress, which with a toddler and with a newborn, let's be fair, right? It's a common thing. So even now, I find myself every time I feel triggered or I feel that I need to calm myself down, I do use it. I also unfortunately suffer a bit with the postpartum panic attacks from time to time in a car or in a plane. I'm about to have a plane trip for the first time now, so I would see how I would use it. But now in a car, I usually do it like I try to breathe in and breathe out in a way that calms me down. So I do find it very effective in situations that I know I will feel triggered or some level of anxiety would come.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing with us today, Victoria.
Thank you.
And
I would say thank you to you for everything you did, because it was really a lot.
I can tell you it works in the plane because I don't like flying so much and I use it. So yeah.
I will let you know. You can invite me on a second workshop and I will let you know.
Okay. Workshop for people who are afraid of flying. So Victoria just told us about how she used the breathing techniques, and I mean, I think she could be an educator now because she explained really well. And I'm gonna tell you a bit more about these breathing techniques. So going back to my presentation, we are gonna practice now. So first, what's breathing techniques? What do I mean when I talk about breathing techniques? The first thing is I want you to experience nose breathing and mouth breathing. So you can breathe through the mouth, and that's very useful when you have a cold or when you're exercising. But the nose is primarily made for inhale and exhale. We will do a small exercise for you to understand how breathing through your nose can help relax your whole body. So I'm going to ask you to close your eyes now and put your one hand on your belly and the other hand on your chest, and take a deep inhale and deep exhale. Again, inhale and exhale. And feel your belly expanding when you inhale and reducing when you exhale. And chest is not moving up and down. Relax your chest. Now place both hands on your belly, just below your ribs, and breathe in through the nose and breathe out through the mouth. And as you breathe out, think that you are blowing through a large straw, like a bubble tea straw, and feel what's happening in your belly. Take a few breaths here. Now, on your next exhale, I want you to imagine that you are blowing through a tiny, tiny straw. So you're pushing the air out through a tiny straw. So breathe in through the nose and out. Now, on the next exhale, I want you to let the air go out through your nostrils. So breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. Take a few breaths here. And now open your eyes again. I hope you felt some difference. So whether you breathe through the nose, through the mouth, and how much force you put in your exhalation, if you use your diaphragm, if you use your ribs, it all depends on what you want to achieve. And we saw that in childbirth, what you want to achieve is relaxation. So when you breathe through the bubble tea straw, you're quite relaxed, but you're still engaging with the jaws because you have to. And we want total relaxed jaws because jaws are linked with the pelvic area. When you breathe out through the tiny, tiny straw, maybe you have felt, I know when you're pregnant, you don't feel so much your abs, but you can still feel maybe the pelvic floor engagement. So you feel a bit the pelvic floor lifting up. And that is going to come in the way of your baby going out through your pelvic floor, if you engage your pelvic floor. And so lastly, when you breathe in and out through the nose, You can totally relax your jaws and relax the rest of your body. Now let's practice breathing patterns. What I mean with breathing patterns is like how long you inhale for, how long you exhale for, and how much force you put in it, for example. So in hypnobirthing, like Victoria just explained to you, we use 3 different types of breathing patterns. So the count breathing is made to help you relax. You can use it before birth, during birth, and forever. Even when you fly. Surge breathing is the second technique, and this one is used by the birthing mom during the surges to help relax and accompany the natural movement of the uterus. And finally, the birth breathing, so also called the J breathing that Victoria described. And this one is used during the birthing, also known as the pushing phase, instead of holding your breath and pushing. So today, I'm going to teach you the first one because we don't have so much time, and it's something for you to take away forever, you know, so it's a good takeaway. I'm going to ask you to close your eyes now. And again, put your hands on your belly, relax your shoulders, melt your chest down, and breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. Expand your belly every time you breathe in, and reduce the size of your belly each time you exhale. And breathe in to the count of 4. Pause and breathe out to the count of 8 slowly. Again, breathe in 2, 3, 4. Breathe out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In 2, 3, 4. Out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Repeat. Take a few breaths here like that. And feel how the relaxation goes down through your neck and your shoulders, your chest, your abdomen. And now go back to your own breathing pattern. And you probably notice that it's slower now. And you can open your eyes again. And I hope you now feel a wonderful sensation of relaxation and go back to your daily activities feeling lighter. So I want to thank you all. You can get in touch with me through WhatsApp, on my website. You can book a free call.
Hi, Maud. Wow, thank you so much. I'm normally really self-conscious doing exercises like that on camera, but I just felt so, I don't know, trusting and okay doing them. And I genuinely did feel relaxed at the end of it. I really noticed the 3 types of breathing that you did at the start. Like the significant difference in the third one when it was nasal in and nasal out. I didn't realize, but my shoulders instantly dropped. Like I didn't realize they were up, but I could feel they kind of instantly dropped on that third type of breathing, which was really, really interesting. I thought I was pretty good at breathing. I used to do, I guess I still do, but I haven't for a long while, scuba diving. So, you know, in terms of maintaining a tank of air for as long as possible, I thought I was pretty good, but clearly I've lost the knack.
Scuba diving is a very good breathing exercise, but you can't do it when you're pregnant, so
that's true. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I haven't done it since I got pregnant. Actually, I haven't done it. So yeah, it's really powerful. I truly wish I had looked into hypnobirthing for my own birth. I did an okay job of staying in control, all things considered, but I think it would have literally just taken it over into that. I think there's a few things that would have ended up just a little bit differently. Nothing ended up bad, but I think it would have ended up the word that comes to mind is blissful. I mean, possibly because I'm, the name of your company, you've imparted that in me, but I really think it could have really just taken the experience to another level for me, which would have been amazing. I think one of the things that I find kind of incredible when I do get to speak to you, Maud, is we hear people a lot of the time talking about, well, hypnobirthing is just if you want an unmedicated vaginal birth. But the more I speak to you about it, it's not just that, is it? It can empower you no matter what. So if something suddenly changes, if your birth plan needs to make a sudden, jolt in a different direction, that can be quite jarring. And then the rest of your birth kind of gets stuck on this big change, whether maybe suddenly you're told that there's a problem or that a C-section is needed. Whereas from our discussions, you've explained to me how you can really control where your mind goes and how kind of consensual you feel towards these changes, as if you need to change your birth plan.
Yeah, totally. And I don't like this idea that an ideal birth, is set once for all. For me, like you said, hypnobirthing is more about empowering yourself and also learning to let go. Because as I always say, the first lesson you take as a parent is learn to let go, because you can't control everything anymore in your life. So if you start learning before giving birth and as part of childbirth, it's really helpful then when you become a parent. And I have clients who've had C-sections and they told me it was really useful for them. So they didn't use the J breathing, the birth breathing, but they used the calm breathing to relax themselves about the surgery. And they used the J breathing after birth in the postpartum for bowel movement.
Yeah. Oh, this is going to sound weird, but one of my favorite subjects. This is going to sound weird.
I didn't know that.
The first poo.
Yeah.
So I talk to clients about doing a mindful poo, like connecting with the feeling that's going on down there and the ejection reflex that you can use to have that first poo. But I love the idea of J breathing to kind of, wow.
The J breathing is the way to practice is when you're pregnant, is because you can't practice, you can't repeat for birth. So the way to practice is when you go to the restroom. And so afterwards, most mothers use it when they have to go to the bathroom again. So yeah.
Oh, I love that. And it is a very weird subject that I'm quite passionate about. Because if nothing else, for first-time mums they'll have heard what we're talking about, but they won't have experienced it yet. Second-time mums, if we've got any on this, will be nodding their heads right now, and they'll be saying, "Oh yeah, that first poo is."
So for me, it was not a subject at all. It was like
I
didn't even think about it.
Wow, that itself is powerful stuff. I know people on here at first time mums are going to be like, Kathy's crazy, she's totally nuts, why is she still on this subject of poo?
Apparently it is a subject, and I didn't know it when I was pregnant and after birth until I started talking about hypnobirthing, and I had more stories and was like, oh wow, that first poo is like, what? Like, no.
Oh, well, there you go. If nothing else, everyone on this call, just so that first poo experience is like blissful. I'm going to say it again, blissful. Oh, trust me, it's worth it. Maud is also in the village, in the WhatsApp group, so you can always contact her there as well. She's also pretty much a regular now at the Baby Fair for Mums. It happens every May, every November.
There's something I didn't say. So I give individual classes one-on-one, whether it's in person or online, and I will be having a group class in East Coast.
Oh, wow. And the power of doing the group classes is you get that little community that all have similar due dates to you and that are going into this journey around the same time. So you'd be able to connect with them, speak to them. Whoever goes first can kind of say what their experience was like. and you can really lean on each other. And that's a beautiful location in the East Coast you're using, isn't it?
I'm using a Music Love Yoga studio on East Coast Road near Juliet. Yeah, really nice.
Great for lunch and coffees afterwards.
Yeah.
So we are coming to the end of our time. You're welcome to drop Maud or myself a message. You can either do that personally, privately, drop something into the Village WhatsApp as well. We are always keeping an eye on that. I've genuinely learned something. I always do on these masterclasses, despite hanging out with these wonderful people every week. They always manage to teach me something new. So thank you so much, Maud, for that. And with that, I'm going to say goodbye to everyone, and I hope I see you all on the next masterclass. Have a fabulous day, guys. Bye.
There is a question in the chat box. As the contraction increases, we should progress from blowing through large straw, narrow straw, and no straw. Is it correct? No, it's not. Okay, sorry. Maybe it was not clear. So this exercise was really meant for you to experience different ways to breathe, to use respiration, and these are not meant to be applied for childbirth, not all of them. So for example, I will use the breathing through a tiny straw when I exercise, when I do Pilates, because I want to engage my core at all times, and it's very helpful for that. But in childbirth, what I teach is to breathe in and out through the nose at all times. I mean, if possible. So for sure, when you give birth, you will have sometimes like you want also to breathe out through the mouth. But like I said, it is meant to help you relax. So in between surges, then you use the different types of breathing. And so the first one is the one that I just taught you, and it's called the calm birth. And this is the type of breathing that you are going to use in early stage of labor, in between your surges, when you're in active labor, and also during birth, between the other types of breathing. And the other types of breathing is, the first one is the surge breathing. So when you start having more intense surges, contractions, you can use this type of breathing, but I teach that in my course, of course. And the second type of breathing is the birth breathing, also called the J breathing. I think this one is very particular to HypnoBirthing. And it's really a breathing that, I don't know, like in martial arts, you use the force of your breath to give force to the movement. So yeah, it's that idea of using the force of your breath to bring your baby down.